Hello there, welcome back to our channel, and the channel's name has been changed slightly to the Readers Gallery from what was the initial name Immini Valyakada, because I felt that there were too many channels with the same name and they were spreading a different type of content which was not related to books and all. So I felt that a new name was necessary, so I have come up with a new name and a new icon. But the intention and the purpose of the channel remain the same, so let's dive into today's video. And today's video, we are going to discuss about an interesting book that is related to the current social scenario. You might all have been hearing a lot of news about the past week or so about the dowry dress and all. I have also heard about it, and I am really disheartened to hear that even in the 21st century, in our society, in our educated society, we are facing such social evils and all. It somehow seems to be deep-rooted into our culture and our society. It hasn't changed from our minds and our hearts, and till the day it doesn't change, I don't think the status of the women in our society is going to change. We need to change the whole patriarchal condition of our society, and for that we must first have a sense of responsibility in our hearts also. We must try to make that social change. We cannot make a certain law and change the mindset of people. We must try to make our minds perfect for this current social scenario. And even I have a sister, so hearing about all these dowry deaths, I was really pained. So you could guess the condition of the victims, parents and relatives. It's a really pathetic condition. And even in an educated society with a great job and all, people seem to be too much linked or too much turned towards all these kinds of social evils. Now, the book that we are going to discuss is also related to this. I kind of stumbled upon this book last week, and I felt that the contents of the book should be shared with you, because this content has a relevance even in this present scenario also. The book was written in 1920 by Premchand, whose original name is Dhanpat Rai Srivastava, even though we don't remember him for that name. He is known as the Emperor of Novels in Hindi, and he is truly an emperor because his writings reflect a kind of control over the society and all the kind of literature present. His characters, his backdrop, his situations, all can be related and have a highly deep impact. So we are going to discuss about Nirmala. So I actually read this book about 5 to 6 years ago, and this was already etched in my mind really hard. And I also read some reviews online which say that this book actually is a masterpiece, probably coming second only to Premchand's Godan, which is considered a most acknowledged masterpiece. Premchand is a writer who has struggled throughout his life. His famous book Godan was published when he was in the deathbed. He did not get many accolades during his lifetime, and he was a strict Gandhian, so his Gandhian ideologies can also be found in his book. So now Nirmala discusses a certain set of things that existed in ancient times as well as in our present day society. That's what is clear from the news that we are all hearing. So Nirmala, a 15-year-old girl, is the protagonist of the story. She has a sister named Krishna, and she is the daughter of Mr. Udayapanu Lal and Kalyani. Udayapanu is an advocate who is practicing law, and at the age of 15, it was decided that Nirmala would be married off to a groom, as was the custom those days. So they searched for a groom and they found a groom, and a certain amount of dowry was fixed. It was a large sum as compared to the other marital dowry and all, but Udayapanu felt that he could manage it. So they decided on the marriage proposal. The groom was a doctor, and they decided that they would marry off her to that doctor. So the preparation for the marriage started, all the collection for the money, invitations all were sent. And one day, Udayapanu was calculating about all the expenses and all, and then Kalyani, that is Nirmala's mother, came in and they started discussing about the expenses. And Kalyani felt that they were spending too much on Nirmala's marriage, so that even when Krishna's marriage would come, they won't have much left. And this kind of made Udayapanu pretty angry. They started quarreling heavily, and then Udayapanu left the house. So that day, Udayapanu collected some of his clothes and he left it at a riverbank, and he just went to the next city. He just planned that the next day others would think that Uday Bhanu had committed suicide, his wife would feel really bad about it, and then he would just suddenly turn up and make everything better and would marry Nirmala off again. So that was the initial plan, but things didn't get into place because when Uday Bhanu was traveling to the next village, he met a guy named Matai, an ex-convict, someone whom this Uday Bhanu had caused a long-term jail sentence. So Matai just came and tried to extract revenge. He killed Uday Bhanu. So Uday Bhanu was murdered. People thought that he had jumped into the river and had committed suicide. So no one searched for his body and all. So things spiraled out in a devastating manner. And Nirmala's marriage was also in danger. Because this large sum of dowry, no other person was able to collect this much money. So the groom's parents sent a message saying that they were not ready for the alliance. Nirmala's mother tried to convince them and make them understand the pitiful situation of theirs. She wrote a letter to the groom's mother. The groom's mother tried to convince the father and the groom about it, but they quite didn't oblige to it. So the proposal was cancelled. But still, Nirmala had to be married off because she was somehow considered as a burden, right? Women are considered to be a burden even now. That's why all these things are happening, and they are, considered as some kind of a sales product that has to be sold off to a idiot who thinks that money is the only reason for marriage and all. So they tried to find another groom, and they found that all the other grooms were also demanding a heavy amount of dowry, which they could not accommodate. So they decided to marry Nirmala off to an advocate who was a widower. He was almost 35 years of age. He already had 3 children with his first wife, and he also had a widowed sister with him. But he was not asking for any dowry, so they felt that this was the perfect match for Nirmala, even though he was almost 20 years Nirmala's senior and all. So they married her off, and Nirmala kind of found it very difficult to adjust with her husband, because he was almost the age of her father. So it was more like a sense of responsibility and duty towards him rather than a love or relationship. So the Nirmala's new wife, Mr. Totaram, actually wanted a young wife for himself, so he wasn't pleased with Nirmala. He tried to seduce her in many ways. He told her many false stories about his bravery and all, but Nirmala knew the fact and all, so she did not believe in this, and she also did not fall in love with Totaram and all. But at the same time, she did not fall behind in doing her duties as a wife and as a mother to the 3 children. And the eldest of them, Mansaram, was only 1 year older than Nirmala. So Totaram suspected that there could be a relationship growing between these two. So Totaram sends his young elder daughter, Mansaram, to live in the hostel. But then situations start to change because Mansaram, who was deeply attached with his father, finds it difficult to live in the hostel. Also, Totaram starts to behave indifferently with him. So he feels that he has committed something wrong and all. He starts to blame himself, his health deteriorates, and then he catches tuberculosis and is admitted in the hospital in a severe condition. At that time, the old groom whom Nirmala was to marry initially was the one who was treating Mansaram. He said that Mansaram would need a blood transfusion, which was a rarity in those days. People felt that if they donated blood, they could have some kind of health-related problem. So no one was ready to donate the blood. But Nirmala came forward and was donated the blood to Mansaram. At that time only, Totaram realized the kind of relationship that Nirmala had with Mansaram. He understood that it was a brotherly or a mother-son relationship that they had with him. So Totaram realized his mistake and all. He highly repented on it. But Mansaram couldn't be saved. He died of tuberculosis. This in turn made Totaram's sister Rukmini very angry about Nirmala. He created a furor in the house. Rukmini started telling to the 2 younger children, that is Siyaram and Diyaram, that it was due to Nirmala only that their brother had to have this fate. So the 2 children also kind of revolted against Nirmala, and situations turned from bad to worse. Totaram, who was repenting on his actions, couldn't bear all this. After a while, Diyaram escaped with Nirmala's jewelry. He went and committed suicide later on. And the youngest child, Siaram, later on went with a sage and decided to go on a pilgrimage. So now Totaram was left with no one. He decided to search for his only living son Siaram. So he also went from the house. Now Nirmala and Rukmini were the only inhabitants of that house with not much money to keep themselves alive. Now the doctor, that is the ex-groom of Nirmala, realized that it was due to his mistake that Nirmala was now facing such a difficult situation. So kind of like a repentance factor, he just made sure that his brother would marry or Nirmala's younger sister, and he also felt some kind of an attraction towards Nirmala. Now this doctor was married by Nirmala's really good friend Sudha. So Sudha and this doctor would usually come to their house and console her in many ways. But then when the doctor tried to make a relationship with Nirmala in secret, Nirmala refused it, and when Sudha came to know about this, they both left the house and never came back again. So now Nirmala and Rukmini were the only inhabitants of the house without money and facilities to live their lives. And after a few months, Nirmala gives birth to a child with whom they name Aisha. But later on, due to malnutrition and all, the child also has certain sickness and illness and all. And Nirmala's health also deteriorates and she falls a prey to death while leaving the little girl with Rukmini. At that time, Totaram returns and finds that his wife has died and has left him with a daughter. This is where the story ends. Now, the story may look like a tragic and kind of a somber story with just a lot of emotion thrown all around, but the detailing that Premchand gives to each of the situations is what makes this unique. Now, there have been scenes or situations which have been shown to show how the society views something. For instance, there is a scene where the snake enters into the house and Totaram actually fleds in fear while Mansaram comes and kills the snake. But after that, Totaram kind of slaps the guy and says that it was me who was going to kill it, you idiot, and all. Trying to show his masculinity and power to Nirmala to make her feel that I am the greatest and all. The false stories that Totaram also makes is a kind of way to establish the masculinity in her mind. This feeling that love and emotions come only when you show that you are powerful, that love is something that can be obtained by overpowering the partner and all. It's a kind of the idea that existed in our society and which still exists. That is why all these things are happening around the place. It also shows how mismatched marriage can also cause problems, how the child marriage affects a person, and all sorts of emotions. It establishes an emotional accord with the person reading it. This has been adopted into a lot of serials and even a movie, I guess. I am not sure about it. If you know about it, please comment. Well, this is a great movie in its own way. We can visualize each and every part of the story. We can find something for each of the readers to, get into their minds and all. This sends a strong social message. This story, written in 1920, still has an importance or a factor that shows that our society has not developed from that pathetic situation. We need to rise. We need to think about the money and male patriarchy and all. We need to understand the value of a female partner. We need to understand that marriage is not about selling your daughter to someone or someone buying it like that. You are not going to give your daughter as a sales product. You need to understand that marriage is an alliance. It is a relationship with partners. Both of them are partners. They share their lives, they share their emotions, they share their concepts, their ideas while keeping their individuality. We need to respect an individual as whatever way they are. That is what is important. Be it any kind of relationship, it may be a man and woman relationship, both men relationship, both women relationship, whatever kind of relationship, relationships are always built on the belief and respect to each individual. When we start to break the boundaries of this relationship, that is when all kind of social evils just stuck upon us, like this whole dowry system. I hope that this at least ends in the future decades to come. I'm not sure about it. Probably in the future, about 10 years after this also, someone would come up with the same story and say the same things to you. But I hope there won't be a day like that. So I just promise here now and itself that I am not going to accept dowry and I am not going to provide dowry to any person. That is a promise made by me, and I hope each and every person who is watching this video also is able to take such an initiative, such a promise, because that is what we can do as responsible citizens of this society to change the way that it is. So thanks for watching, and next video will come about another interesting book. So stay tuned till then. Bye.